but he D'Anton he transformed our defense in 1 year. You know, and you see like I mean Latu was a good player the year before, but he was first defensive player taken last year. And, you know, I think we had a few guys. We had the twins. I think they went to the league. I don't know
So
if
we were
Carl
talking about
Jones went to
UCLA
the league.
football.
Yeah, man.
And Mike looks disinterested backstage.
Still about to get cooked.
He got y'all. I mean, he's over there with y'all now. So if he can take what we had on defense, I think we had like one of the worst defenses in the league and in the country, and he turned them into a good unit. So if he can do that with our talent, I'm sure he should be able to do something like that with y'all.
Oh boy, did have one of the worst opening pressers. Head coach for UCLA.
Deshaun Foster? Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. That was...
You could tell he just be like, all right, we gonna be good. Okay.
He freestyled that. He freestyled that, bro. He didn't...
Man.
Hey, man, don't forget to clock in. Like the thumbs, man. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
track. This is one of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, we just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces for my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled their spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
We back. What's going on? We are back, man, for another episode, another edition of Around the Shield, man. I see the production over there. I see you, Mike.
I know, Mike.
What's going on, man? What's up with y'all, man? How y'all doing?
Man, good, man. The hate is flowing through my body right now, man. The hate is growing. I'm ready to go, man.
I see, bro. I seen you change your social media handle on was it on X? Angry Raider? Is that the new name, right? Is that the?
This season at least.
The rebirth. Huh?
I'm gonna have to give Mike a red hat, man. I'm gonna have to just buy you a red hat, bro. When I see you, bro, I'm gonna have to pass the torch, man. You got the juice now.
Hey, if this was wrestling, man, bro, he got a new storyline now. He got a new storyline.
Exactly,
Angry Raider, man.
Mike is making a heel turn, man. He's like, he's Hollywood Hulk Hogan now.
For real. Got the beard and everything, changed the whole look. The heel look, man.
For real, man. But hey, man, it's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about this week, man. Like, hey, football is less than 2 weeks to go. Pretty much next week, next Thursday, is season kickoff, right? Usually it's that Thursday. College football is already rolling around. We see Shador putting up a show. Maybe a future Raider quarterback. Who knows, man? I don't know, man. But
I ain't jumping out the window yet.
Yeah, you ain't jumping out the window yet. But yeah, next week is the season kicks off on Thursday. Obviously, the Raiders, they kick it off on Sunday. Not this Sunday, the next Sunday. So, man, we can't wait for it. But this week, Raiders were able to finalize that 53-man roster, or did they? I felt like, you know, they got to 53, and then the next day they start cutting players and this, that, and the third. And one of the players was Byron Young. 2023 draft pick, third round draft pick, I believe, right? And is a guy that, you know, hey, the Raiders thought they got someone that could probably be a contributor to that interior D line, and he struggled, bro, and he was able to. I mean, I felt like they felt good enough for him to keep him, but do you think it was a situation where they just kept him along the ride just because they wanted to make sure that they can get their guy? Because let's talk about some of the guys that they picked up. They picked up a corner, picked up a D tackle, safety. They added some players to this practice squad. Were you guys surprised by any of the moves this week?
I'm a little bit surprised about how many linebackers they kept. To be honest with you, I didn't think that Luke Masterson did enough to make this 53. Now, we didn't see much of him. It's hard to say what he's done in practice, what he did at training camp and things like that. But we got a small sample size from those two games he did play, and to me, it didn't seem like enough. Amari Gaynor, he made the squad. I'm happy for him. He well deserved. I thought that he was going to kind of leapfrog over Masterson to get that spot, and they kept Amari Burney, so that's a good thing. But they kept like 6-7 linebackers or something. So that was a shock to me. But more I think about it, it makes sense because of the need for special teams and the tacklers, and having the speed to run downfield on kickoffs and things like that. You're going to need those tacklers and guys that can shed blocks. and make those plays. So that was one of the big shocks for me.
Yeah, and we brought that up, but I think last show with me and Severe, I brought up the linebackers, and people were kind of like 7 linebackers, but we were like, you know what, they're gonna make some moves. Some of those guys are probably gonna get off, but now the new kickoff rules are pretty serious now. Like you can see the impact on how many players they keep at certain positions, and linebackers, they're the tacklers, man. They're gonna be out there. And they're special team aces. A lot of special team aces are linebackers and safeties and guys like that. And one of the guys they picked up was with Thomas Harper, a safety from the Chargers. So you can see the impact of the kickoff, the new kickoff rules. I mean, Severe, what was like one of your favorite moves from the past couple of days? I mean, some of the players that they picked up.
I like the Darnell Holmes pickup. I think he adds a veteran. Some veteran depth to the cornerback room. He's a guy that's familiar with Patrick Graham's system. He played with them in New York. He's a guy that can play inside, can play outside. Physical guy. Not afraid to hit. And he has some. He probably has a connection with our DB coach because they went to one of the best schools in the nation, baby. So those guys are connected there. So it should be. I'm sure those dudes will hit it off, and I think we needed some depth in the cornerback room. Brandon Faison, you never know what you're going to get with that guy, and we know what he got in the end. But so that was a very young room, especially even our other starters, but both of our starters really. JB and Jack, they're both relatively young corners. Nate is like the most senior person out of that group, so it's good to have another veteran presence there.
By the way, Byron Young was claimed, I believe, by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Interesting move by them. They went ahead and they picked up in the waiver wire, so they didn't even allow him to hit those the free agency streets. So I think it might have been a situation the Raiders maybe felt confident they could possibly maybe bring him back in the practice squad, but hey, Byron Young, man. That's another player Raiders drafting is going to another team. And this week, too, Mike, I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the former Raiders. We talked about it a little bit before with Severe. How do you feel about, the Jonathan Abrams of the world, the Alex Leatherwoods, and some of these guys who are striking out right now? They're not looking too good.
We talked offline about this, and Leatherwood, the writing was on the wall years ago. Mm-hmm. We let him go. After his first year, or was it his second year, something like that? We let him go really quick, early, and that never really happens unless you're that bad. Exactly. So the writing was on the wall. He went to Chicago. I think he went to the Broncos for a little bit, practice squad, and then the Chargers practice squad. So the writing's been on the wall with him. Now, as far as Jonathan Abram goes, I said it to you offline. He plays football like he has no brain cells. So, he has no situational awareness. He has no his IQ for the game seems like sometimes he shows it, and then there's other times where he's just absent-minded and he's just like bullheaded, like a bull in a china shop. So, he definitely needs to reassess. Possibly, we said this years ago, maybe he should be moving to will linebacker. Maybe that might be kind of up his alley. I don't see that happening at this point of his career, but it kind of doesn't shock me too much with those guys.
I mean, what do you guys think about the other guys? I mean, Thomas Harper from the DB safety from the Chargers looked like he played well in the preseason. Then they got a guy that AP went out of his way to say, like, hey, man, this is a guy I wanted to draft it. And he was a rookie free agent. Jonu Lalu, I think, is how I pronounce the name. Former edge rusher. They're moving him inside. Most likely, at first, maybe I was thinking, okay, are we getting a run stopper here? But they're most likely going to have him probably develop at 3 technique. So, I mean, Severe, what do you think of that move right there? Do you think there might be some potential for him to contribute to this team?
Nah, not really, man. To be honest with you, just be like, and that was one of those things that coaches say. right? Like, oh man, we really wanted to draft this kid. We had 2 7-round picks and passed on him twice. So how bad did you really want to draft him when you passed on him twice? So like obviously you didn't want him that badly because we took Trey Taylor and we took MJ Devonshire over him. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we were hoping we can pick him up as a UDFA, but if you really wanted to draft him that badly, then you should have just took him. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see him contributing really that much early on. To be honest with you, we got John Jenkins. We got Adam Butler. We already know that Tyree is going to slide inside on occasions. Christian Wilkins. So does he really crack that rotation? Maybe if we do end up running a lot more of the 5-2-4 that we saw in preseason, possibly then, because obviously you don't want John Jenkins. He's an older guy. You don't want him out there for a heavy amount of snaps. But I really don't see this guy contributing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I misspoke. Yeah. He wasn't an undrafted free agent. He was a
seventh rounder
by the Colts.
Who
the Colts end up and the Colts end up cutting him 7th rounder, and the Raiders cut their own 7th rounder in Devonshire. I mean, Mike, how do you feel about that, man? Do you think it's just one of those situations where you're not going to be really stressing over it, 7th round pick, or it's like, man, another missed draft pick? How do you feel about that, man? Do you?
It's a 7th round pick, and a lot of 7th rounders get in this situation where they get cut, and just like what the Raiders did today, they brought him back after he went through waivers. They brought him back and sent him to the practice squad. So give him some time to develop under this system, and back to the drawing board next year. I don't expect to see him at all on the field in the 53 at all this season. But next season he might compete with some good development, knowing the system. I'm expecting that we're going to be having a different defensive coordinator next year, especially if Patrick Graham, does what as expected. He's going to probably get a head coaching job next year, but it's going to be a similar defense. Whoever we have is probably going to be somebody who's kind of under Patrick Graham, kind of running similar to what he's been running. So, Devonshire,
maybe Rob Leonard.
Yeah, it's a possibility. And he's going to kind of get that development in his second year and get sharper and kind of get the NFL speed under him and that expertise. And then maybe he competes next year for 53. But I don't expect to see him at all this season on the field.
Yeah, and I agree, man. The 7th rounders are really priority undrafted free agents. The players that the teams want, that, and they don't want to risk them losing out in undrafted free agents, because you could tell the teams are going to be on the phones trying to get these undrafted free agents to invite them to the training camp, offer them a contract. Sometimes they'll try to compete with some of the contracts too as well. We'll hear this undrafted free agent got the most, and it's not something crazy, but you could tell it's real competitive when trying to get the players that they want, especially after the draft. And hey, guys in the 7th round are really, that's pretty much what they are. The guys that they really wanted to prioritize and bring on before they hit undrafted free agency. A guy that we haven't talked about too is Thomas Harper. What I like about him is that he has some experience playing, slot corner. So I know he's listed as a safety, and one of the reasons why they kind of brought Darnay Holmes to the Raiders from the Giants, right, is the fact that there is no backup to Nate Hobbs. So you get a guy that can play outside, and also if Nate Hobbs, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get hurt, but he has in the past, you now have another guy that can come in and contribute at that spot. And then you got Thomas Harper, who they picked up as a as a DB, a safety, but he has that versatility that he could play slot, play safety, and you could tell teams, they value versatility at the end of the day. Whether it's offensive lineman, defense, it doesn't matter. They like guys that they can move around. So we'll see.
You know what I like the most about it is the fact that, and then this was a report, I don't know how true this is, that Thomas Harper, they wanted to bring him back. They wanted him to clear waivers, and they were going to bring him back. And the Raiders said, "Nah, man, we're taking this."
Yep.
I like that kind of strategy. I like that mentality, you know, and it's that anger. It's the anger, right? Do things fueled by anger, and stealing a guy who has some potential, undrafted free agent guy, rookie year, you know, with the potential to do things. Maybe not this year, but maybe in a couple years, or maybe be a special teams guy. You know, stealing that from your rival. That's fueled by hate, and I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
facts.
and you go at a division rival too. Get them,
Yep.
you know what I mean? You go at a division rival and you make them weaker because that's obviously a player that they wanted to bring back, and I'm glad we were able to get Harper for him to come on the squad. But we'll be paying attention right now. I feel like they got their guys, and like you said earlier, 7 linebackers. It looks like the Raiders are really going to carry 7 linebackers. So, I think certain teams are probably, it's a wait and see approach. They're trying to figure out this whole rule change, and we'll pay attention to that, and they'll probably adjust as the season goes on as far as how many players they have at certain positions. But yeah, man. Hey,
So I
look,
don't think there's another team in the league that has 7. So I mean, that's
but then there might be some teams that have my 7 safeties. Who knows?
yeah, true. Yeah, true. And man, we didn't talk about Justin Shorter was another guy we picked up. That was the
Oh, yeah.
like he was converted wide receiver. He was a wide receiver. I want to say
Right.
at Florida. It was just a 5th round pick in 2023. So a fairly highly drafted guy. He's being converted to tight end. So maybe the Raiders are hoping they can turn that guy into another kind of move type tight end or another like big slot / tight end. I know we kind of were curious about the fact that they only kept 3 tight ends on the roster, but adding him, that's another guy. I think he added him to the practice squad. I want to say, right? He went to the practice squad.
Yeah,
Or did he add him to the practice squad? Yeah, went to the practice squad. So just another guy. I think we had John Paul Shanker there. So John Paul Shanker and him. It's add a little bit more, developmental guys to the tight end position.
Yeah. So that's total like 5 tight ends between roster and practice squad. But most likely if we get hurt, and hopefully they don't get hurt. If we get hurt somewhere, we're probably going to bring in a veteran. If Shorter is going to be a developmental guy, they're not probably going to rely on him to come in and contribute right away. That's more of a long-term move. But we'll see, man. Teams do that all the time. They always try to find a project player that's cheap and develop them. I mean, look at Darren Waller.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that's a great example. That's a great example of it working out. Because I didn't see that coming when the Raiders picked him up, and then the rest is history. Former receiver turned tight end.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did. I mean, if we get a tight end hurt, we might just start going 3 wide. You can just put Trey Tucker out there more often. Put on Jacoby in the slot, and let and cook like that.
Yeah,
it's true.
We'll see, man. We'll see. So let's move it along, because I mentioned earlier about the 2023 draft, right? We talked about Byron Young earlier this week. Big Mike, Angry Raider, was going at it. He was going at it with everybody on X. He was going left and right about Tyree Wilson. I'm gonna go ahead and he threw a big haymaker. I'm gonna post this on the screen real quick for everybody to see. Give me just 1 second here. Y'all can see this right here. You see it on the screen. He says, "Stop making excuses for Tyree Wilson. The truth of the matter is that he did not look good versus backups a couple of weeks ago. Y'all should expect way more from a guy who's picked 7th overall over guys like Jalen Carter, Christian Gonzalez, etc." Sheesh. My guy Mike, man, he's coming from, man. And we've been talking about this the last few shows about Tyree Wilson and how he hasn't really kind of lived up to. And I know it's going into his 2nd season, but it's just that we haven't seen what it's like. We have usually when you see a player with potential, you can tell like if it's a guy that like you could tell like, all right, even Michael Kuntz, for example, he wasn't a top 10. I use him as an example because he wasn't a top 10 pick. But when you see him go on the field in the limited snaps that he played his rookie year, you're like, oh, we might have something here.
Yeah.
Tyree Wilson, have we had that moment? Maybe the only moment that I'll say this, to be fair, was preseason game against
Cowboys.
A converted left tackle against the Cowboys. Yeah, Bull Rush. Y'all remember it if y'all follow the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
Mike, man, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, I'm about to say he didn't make the play on that one. That's the thing. Like he is a,
Yeah.
$1 million move and a a $1 finish. Like, bro, you
Yeah.
get to say you just was pushing the guy. You was slow dancing with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, man. It's bad. But here's the thing, man. Like, as far as with Tyree Wilson, I watch the D line and the O line. I don't follow the ball when I watch football. I watch what's going on in the trenches. So the spotlight when he's on the field, the spotlight is on Tyree Wilson when I watch football, when I watch the Raiders. And in that preseason game, I was seeing him kind of getting manhandled by some backup offensive linemen. He wasn't shedding blocks the way he should have. He was patty caking with guys. He wasn't shedding block. He wasn't in the mix with trying to make plays. And then to top it all off, where I was officially out was that play, where he had a chance to make a play on Trey Lance, and he took a bad angle, footwork like really looked bad, and couldn't really make that play. Now people will say, yeah, that's Trey Lance. He's faster, this and that, but your assignment is to kind of keep that contained, and with that, you got to also have the footwork, and you got to have a little bit of speed to kind of, make that play. Max Crosby isn't the fastest dude in the world, but what he does have is, on top of the motor he has, is the technique, the fundamentals to always be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm seeing with Tyree Wilson. Now that can be learned. I'll give him that. The technique, the fundamentals can be learned. But what cannot be learned, and what you should already have coming into the league, is the get off. You should already have a get off. You should already have that burst of speed. You should already have a bend. That's a prerequisite to get into the NFL. Not just the God-given talent and the body structure and the physicality, the way you look and things like that. Like, that means nothing in the NFL. There's guys, we were talking about Hunter Renfrow. He was a Pro Bowler and he looked like somebody's dentist. So, if you're talking about physicality, if you're talking about like somebody's body being that laugh gets me every time, bro. But if you're talking about just going off of physical, just how you look, your physique, that doesn't mean anything. That's not upside to me. Upside is, okay, you're showing improvement. You're showing some sort of improvement. You're showing that you have some sort of technique, fundamentals, but you're just like right there. You're close. What I saw in the preseason game showed that it was a continuation of what we saw a little bit from last year. Now, people did say that he did improve towards the end of the season last year, which is true, but it seemed like it wasn't carrying off into this preseason. I didn't see that improvement that people were talking about continuing over. So that's my problem with it. I'm ready to move on. I know a lot of people are like, give him like 2 or 3 years, and for me, people name like Trayvon Merrick. People name like you said, Malcolm Kuntz. A lot of guys. They even named Cam Jordan. His first year he only had 1 sack, and then he broke out with 8 the following year. So I get that. Those are case by case basis, and then you could use that as a case for Tyree Wilson to kind of turn it around. But one thing I can say is that those guys that they've listed, they showed upside somewhere. They showed that they figured it out at some point in certain aspects of their game. I haven't seen it with Tyree Wilson, and I don't think he's going to figure it out, to be honest with you. I hope he does, but I don't think he will. And people want to say, move him to D tackle. You got to have physicality to play D tackle. You got to have some ill intent to play D tackle, both of which I haven't seen from him either. So, and people were like, just put a little bit more weight. The weight, once again, let's talk about physicality. Your physique has nothing to do with how you play football. And I don't think that he plays football at the level that we should, give him a chance to continue. Now, if we can get a value for him now, let's get a value for him now before it's too late. And he shows that there's no value next year when it's time for us to, where we're 100% like, okay, maybe we should move on. Because we'll get maybe a 7th round next year if he's continuing this path from what we've seen. We'll get maybe a 7th round next year. This year, maybe we can get a 4th. So, that's kind of where I'm at. And there's two sides to it. People were agreeing with me what I said. And there were other people that were saying, it's premature. And then there was a third side, right? There was a third side that was like, well, the GMs know what we're talking. The GMs know what they're doing. Telesco and these guys know more than you do. Well, last time I checked, GMs get it wrong too. So, the guy who drafted Tyree Wilson, Dave Ziegler, he got it wrong. He's not here anymore. So until we see somebody that has 100% gotten it right, I'm going to still talk my shit about it. And that is what it is. But like I said, I'm not wishing any ill intent, ill will on Tyree Wilson. I'm sure he's a good dude. But at the end of the day, he's not delivering. And we're going to hold him to that higher standard because he was a 7th overall pick. And we could have had a generational talent in Jalen Carter, or at the very worst, a guy that's going to be across from Jack Jones and Christian Gonzalez.
Man, and I see that people were coming for you, man.
You guys can make sure you guys pick up your Men of Order Apex at menoforder.com/BigMikeRaider. If you want some of that in your system, make sure you grab some of that Men of Order Apex.
Go get it. Go get it, man. Go get it.
No, thanks. But yeah, Mike, hey, look, it's hard to disagree with you. I mean, like I said to begin with, man, we just haven't seen anything out of him to be like, you know what? There's something that we can develop there, And I understand he wasn't 100% last year, but now, like, he's healthy, right? He's supposed to be 100% healthy. The one thing that you could say, the best thing about his particular situation is the fact that we don't have to really count on him. I've said this before. We don't have to count on Tyree to be the guy. He just needs to figure out a role with this team and then develop at the same time and then find ways to get on the field. And then, it works out. It works out for both spots. You got the coach who's trying to trust Tyree and put him in big spots. And then you got Tyree really motivated to get some PT. So I think it's a good situation for him. And then the guys in front of him, obviously Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Christian Wilkins of the world, all those guys are there. They've come out and they've shown that they can be productive. But we'll see, man. Preseason, I mean, that was one of the guys that I was going to be looking at preseason, and he got a whole bunch of PT against starters, backup players. It didn't look too good. And we talked about this before, because there was I believe, I don't know when we were able to talk about this. I think it was like a show where we were talking about what can we get for Tyree.
Right.
If we can get some compensation, does it make sense to trade him right now? We'll see. I think the Raiders are gonna hold on to Tyree and see. Yeah. He's a young, talented player on a rookie deal, getting paid cheap.
Yeah, and that was my point that I was also going to make. It doesn't hurt us too much to keep him because right now he's getting paid. I think it's like $5 million, and it goes up the next couple years. I know his 4th year. Probably we're going to cut ties after that, but his 4th year he's only owed a little bit over $7 million. So that's actually it's not going to hurt us too much. It accounts, according to Spot Track, to about like a little bit over 2% of the salary cap, and that's as of right now. So, so it doesn't hurt us too much either way.
Yeah. It's not like he's an older player who's a descending player. He's a player that can possibly ascend, and teams literally are making those types of gambles every day, every season, the draft is based off that. The free agency is based off making bets on certain players who are gonna give your money back pretty much, so to speak. Like they're gonna, I mean, Severe, what, like, I know we talked about this before, but what, like, do you agree with Mike on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with them, but then I don't agree where I don't think we're gonna give up on them. Like, it's one of those situations where like it's even outside of the technical aspect of the game, right? Him being a technician and learning pass rush moves. I was always told, and I'm sure a lot of people that played sports or did any type of athletics, it's easier to try to calm somebody down than it is to try to like turn them up, right? Easier to try to get them to tone it down to get them to turn it up. So, and that's the issue with Tyree. Like, there's a complete lack of just like desire or care to be that guy. And what people always point to is, oh, he was hurt all of last year, right? Oh, this is essentially his rookie year. Okay, I'll give you that. Well, I do expect my top 10 pick in his first year. So let's say last year didn't count. In his first year, I expect him to go out there against second and third stringers and dominate. And he didn't do
Yeah.
that. So let's say last year was a wash. He's a rookie now. He still didn't meet my standards because he still didn't perform. So like
Yeah.
we gotta stop. We gotta call a spade at the end of the day. Like this guy doesn't seem to want it. Now with that being said, we're not going to give up on him. It's not going to happen. Um, like people bring up Trayvon Merrick. Trayvon Merrick was a second round pick. People bring up Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan was drafted in the back half like I want to say he was in the late or mid to late 20s. So like
Yeah.
these aren't top 7 picks. These aren't this is the cornerstone of my defense going forward. And we talk about what we weren't supposed to use them. Well, technically not, but even then that was by happenstance because Chandler Jones, he went crazy, and nobody knew what Kuntz was going to be. So even then, we expected Tyree to be a part, some part of that rotation at the very least, and he still couldn't do that. So it's like, bro, I mean, like I said, I'm not ready. I think it's too early to give up on them. I think they will squeeze every bit of juice out of that lemon they can get,
Yeah.
and once they decided that, hey, you know what, he's never going to tap any of that potential, then I think they'll decide to move on from him. They'll probably try to feature him and get him get him a good game or something like that, set him up in some one-on-ones, that way he can have a big game, and then they could try to trade him after that. But like I said at the time, I compared him at the time. People, I didn't want to say Pharaoh left the comment. I go check my videos. I compared him to Alex Leatherwood, and Pharaoh's like, "Oh, Alex Leatherwood, that's too much. That's too much." And now look, he's Leatherwood. He's Leatherwood. All the physical gifts, none of the desire, none of the technical skills.
Man. Hey, look.
So here's the other part that kind of like is kind of cold. The cold part about it, right? We got a guy sitting in the practice squad right now, Charles Snowden, who outplayed him in the preseason.
Yeah.
And Tyree Wilson didn't play that final game. Meanwhile, Charles Snowden gets extra reps and has a pretty damn good game. That final game against the Niners. Now, who's to say what Tyree Wilson would have done in that same scenario, right? But we didn't get a chance to see it. And it's only strictly because he's a first-round pick and he kind of gets that preferential treatment that, that he gets the preferred seating for this, at this point, because you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's still that guy, right? But there's a guy on the practice squad right now that I think is comparable to his ability, probably even better. And it's just the injustice of how things are set up. I think Snowden kind of got a raw deal on that. I would rather have seen him in rotation than Tyree Wilson at this point, to be honest with you.
Hey, man. Look, I think that's just yeah, and I think it's also hey, that's the deal that you get when you when you're a first round pick. You get a lot of leash, so to speak. Like, they're gonna give you every chance to succeed because it's a bad look on the team if they miss out on Tyree again. And I think the outside noise probably influenced them not playing him in that last preseason game. They knew that they're gonna keep him. They knew what they have in Tyree. They probably looking at it long term. They didn't want they understood what was going to happen. Oh, we played Tyree, former first-round pick. Do you think the coach made that move, that call? Because, like, AP, he's made it a point, and I remember him talking about how he's not going to coach every player the same way.
Yeah.
So
That's
a guy
possible.
and you just called him, I mean, you pretty much called him soft. A guy like Tyree, you know, you put him on the last game, how is he going to take that? How's that going to, you know, he probably believes in his talent, but then he mentally, do you think that he was going to take that? How well was he going to take that?
So here's the thing about Tyree Wilson, man, is like he made to the NFL, man. I didn't make it nowhere close to the NFL. So let's put things in perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this dude made to the NFL first round pick. Congratulations. But this dude, so it's hard for me to say somebody's soft if they made it to that point. That's irresponsible, right? I'll say that's irresponsible. But in terms of how he fits with this team and the mentality that they're bringing forth, especially on that defense, a guy, somebody like myself is adopting the same mentality as the defense, fueled by hate, because a lot of people are selling them short, chip on their shoulder, trying to make a point, Max Crosby leading the way, Jack Jones, alongside with them, other guys buying into that same mentality. Tyree Wilson doesn't seem to me that he fits with what they're trying to do right now, mentality-wise. Just the mentality and just the culture. It doesn't seem like it's a fit. That's my problem with it. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's soft, but he just doesn't fit with what they're trying to do, to me. And that could be a problem. And in that situation, he may never see some time on the field unless there's injury, right? So, but if, there's no injury, he could be seeing like 20-30% at the max, snaps when it's all said and done at the end of the season. He's the fourth best defensive end on this team right now. So, it's
Janarius Robinson, I believe he's on the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
He looked pretty solid in the preseason too.
Right.
So, and he looked like he
that's
might be able to contribute.
That's a high effort dude. That's a high effort dude, a guy that is buying into this new Raider way. And I just don't see Tyree Wilson doing the same thing. And maybe it's not in him. Maybe he's just not a fit with what we got going right now at this point. So, maybe he needs to go somewhere else and kind of revitalize his career. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's do it now. And yeah, people are going to disagree. I get it.
Going into his second year, man, it's because you know what it is. It's like they're like, man, we've barely seen Tyree. That's probably what it is for a lot of people. That we've barely seen him. Like let him like experience his second year. Let's see if he can. What happens when he starts winning? What happens when that light just switches? What happens when he starts figuring out like, oh, I could win this way, I could win that way. You know what I mean? Like he starts figuring it out a little bit. Maybe near the end of the second season, and that third season is where he breaks out. I think that's like the biggest argument. But I see what you're saying. Thus far, I see what you're saying.
Here's the thing, man. Let me just say this. Like with Tyree Wilson, we want him to succeed, right? Say he is that guy, the second best guy, right? Then we could be like, hey, thanks for your service, Kuntz. We're not giving you $20 million. So it only helps us salary cap wise for him to be successful. So it's not like I'm rooting against the dude. It's just based on what I've seen, it just doesn't seem like a fit. And I hope I'm wrong, but right now it just doesn't seem like that fit.
Yeah, but but Kuntz,
Tell him to bring me my money.
we gotta give him his money, man. We gotta give him his money for sure.
Yeah.
Like we got to.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be tough though, just because like we talked about it before. It's free agency teams are gonna try to, if he hits free agency, he's gonna be really competitive. He's a young player, 26, ascending player. So we'll see how it shakes out, what the Raiders decide. Because if you play Kuntz, you also got to think ahead. Like, hey, eventually you got to play Max, and Max, he's kind of bigger than at this point, he's done a
He's
really
outplayed
good
his
job with
contract.
this. Not even just that. He's kind of attached himself to that Raider brand. Like he's a Raider through and through. So his value is even bigger than what it is on the field. It's off the field too.
Yeah.
So if you had to choose between Max and Kuntz, it's not just about the on-field production. It's also outside the football field.
And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of when we gave Kobe a lot of money towards the back end of his career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
His impact with the Lakers and his brand, like, you know, it was Kobe Lakers. Like it transcended what, you know, his game at the time, and we overpaid him. You guys remember, like, people were talking about how crazy his contract was at the time.
Yeah.
I could see the Raiders, you know, in terms of, you know, paying the defensive end, break the market for Max Crosby, simply because that impact, the fact that he's you know, synonymous with the Raiders now at this point, you kind of have to, you know. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, they're not going to let him walk, you know. So whatever he asks, he's probably going to get, you know. Like, that's just the truth of the matter.
Football always I'll say this though. Football always surprises me a little bit, but it just shows you how different the two sports are with the NBA and the NFL. Like, the NFL is an owner's league, and then the NBA is a players' league. So they put so much value on the players. So like a guy like Kobe, just for him to be, and Kobe's the extreme example. Like, he's one of the greatest players of all time. But him just being in the arena is going to bring people in, even if he plays like 2 minutes out the game. Same thing with LeBron James, you know. But football's kind of different, bro. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, like it's about the team more than it is about the player.
Yeah.
So two things, right? First, NFL is kind of veering over to that player-centric type of mentality these days. So you do have that element there just a little bit, especially with edge rushers and quarterbacks. Those are the two, and wide receivers. Those are the three positions that are kind of getting that kind of treatment, right? That's what you're seeing. And as far as, I'm not saying Max Crosby is going to be the greatest of all time, like, period, but he might be the greatest Raider of all time when it's all said and done. You know, especially at that position. You know, especially, he's got to get a ring. He's got to get a ring. But statistic wise, you know, he's looking at the all-time sack leader. He's looking at that, breaking that. So, you know, as far as stats goes, and then the longevity of him being a Raider, you're going to look at him and be like, this was a Raider great. He was one of the greatest to do it. And Kobe, you look at him, he was one of the greatest Lakers to do it. So that's the similarity, not necessarily being the greatest of all time, period, but just being the greatest at their franchise, you know, being that cornerstone. So that's the similarities.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Look, that's why, like, you can't play checkers. You gotta play chess at the end of the day,
absolutely,
man. But yeah, let's move it along, man. That pretty much is Around the Nation, man. Appreciate Mike for the great tweet right there, man. Everybody was going crazy off that. But like, hey, look, that's why you guys, hey, next time y'all watching this, make sure to leave a comment after the video. We'll check them out. We'll pick out the best. It don't even necessarily got to be on the video, but preferably put it on, whether it's Severe's, Big Mike, or myself. Go and leave a comment, and we definitely read comments, and the best comments we'll put on the screen. In this case, Mike won it.
Yeah, exactly.
This week he had it wasn't on YouTube, but it was on X, and he had to, you know, he had some things to get off his chest.
Bro, it was crazy. I tweeted that without any kind of like thought that it was gonna go off like that. I came back to my car at the end of work, and I had like 30 notifications. I was like, yo, all right, well, shoot, let's roll then. Like, you know, it just happens that way sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. But speaking of getting things off our chest, man, hey, it's that time, man. It's Extra Point. This is where we gotta chime in on a few things around going around the team, the league, whatever the case may be. In this case, let's start with Severe, man. What you got on your mind, man? What do you want to tell the people, the nation?
So we all know this has been an ongoing saga for I don't know how many years now, but Tom Brady has been attempting to buy a minority share of the Raiders. Now, initially, they said the issue was that, oh, we didn't sell it for enough. So you have to sell it for more money. And then they said, oh no, it's going to be an issue. It's going to cause a conflict with your other job. So now they've taken it to another level, saying that, hey, you know what? If you want to be the minority or owner of the Raiders, then we will put severe, check that, severe restrictions on you as a broadcaster. And you see there, right? News out of the NFL meetings. If Tom Brady becomes partial owner of the Raiders, he will be forced to abide by unique restrictions as a broadcaster, including no access to practice or production meetings. That means he can't sit in on these production meetings. He can't interview these players. There's even been said that he cannot criticize the officiating because he's a minority owner. So I think it's just I think it's ridiculous. At the end of the day, all these people they all have rooting interests, right? So unless we're gonna start like checking all these guys, making sure they're not betting or they don't have any family that's affiliated that's doing any kind of betting or anything like that. If you want to take it that deep, if you want to think that this guy who's as high profile as you can get as an NFL player is going to waltz into another team's facility, take what he knows, and then run it back and give it to the Raiders. Like I think it's ridiculous because by that token, you have to start investigating every single person that has these kind of jobs, making sure they're not doing any kind of insider trading. There's no inside baseball going on with any of these people because all these people have family members. All these people know people to have rooting interest. They can feed these people information and do all this kind of stuff. So I just think that I think it's getting out of hand, man. Like if you want to do it where, hey, you know what, if there are any common opponents that the Raiders have that particular league year, he's not allowed into those buildings or not allowed to interact with those teams. Hey, I'm good with that. That's that year. I'm fine with that. I'm sure the team probably wouldn't feel comfortable with him being in there. But you do it like every single team, no production meeting at all. I think it's just they don't. I think they don't want him being a part owner, especially not in the Raiders. I think they fear of what potential impact, possibly the greatest winner of all time in sports could have on a franchise like the Raiders, who is one of the more popular franchises in the United States of America. And once they start winning, that we're going to see that popularity surge. We're a team that hasn't had a 500, how many 500 records in the past 20 years, and we're already ninth in value without really winning. So imagine what this team would look like if we start winning. And I think that having a guy like Tom Brady in the building, it might not directly contribute to winning, but I think he has the kind of mentality and that's contagious, right? He's a guy that's extremely disciplined. He's an alpha, and I think the way he carries himself, not only with his work ethic, but just his leadership, I think that stuff is contagious. And if you inject that into a team like the Raiders, who, has been lacking leadership for a while, hopefully we found that in Antonio Pierce, but it's been lacking true leadership at the top for a while. I think that can do wonders for this organization. I think the league fears that.
Man, I was looking at that comment over there. Wow, you can buy the car but not drive it anywhere in it.
Man, it's like it's stupid. It's stupid, man. It's like I don't know, man.
Selfishly, I think it's gonna suck from watching games and hearing Tom Brady and his perspective because, like, you got to think that like Tom Brady walks into that production meeting, he's walking and talking to these coaches, these players. You know the type of things that they're going to probably say to him and the type of conversations they're going to have because it's Tom Brady. And
Exactly.
and the greatness of Tom Brady is going to come out and the type of conversations and things, his insight is going to be so good, and we're not going to be able to see that.
Exactly.
We're not going to be able to see that because the league took that away from us because they're over here in their feelings, or they don't want him to be an owner for the Raiders but also go into these teams building, man. But
I would like to give Tom Brady a little bit of caution. I just want to let him know, this Raider shit,
it's real.
It's real, bro.
No,
And you jump into the dark side, man, you're gonna fall from grace with the NFL, man. Your image is gonna take a hit. They don't want you a part of this. They don't want you a part of it at all. So, Tom Brady, if you're really about that business, you better reassess, double check that this is what you really want, because once you're in this Raiders shit, man, you're not gonna be on that high regard like you used to be. That's just how it is gonna be.
I think it's funny, and it's funny that Tom Brady was pretty much probably given an ultimatum.
Welcome to the 50/50 show.
If you want to be a broadcaster, you can't go into the building if you're going to become an owner of the Raiders, and he just was like, tell him to bring me my money. You know what I'm saying? He want to get paid by Fox millions, because he signed a huge deal, and then on top of that, become the owner of the Raiders. He's like, you don't want me in the building? Okay, still getting paid though. That's what Tom's saying. Like, at the end of the day, bring me my money.
Look, and somebody put this. Like, this is gonna heads everywhere are going to explode when they hear this. But we all know how close Mark Davis has been to Tom Brady in recent years, right?
Yeah.
All right. We also know that Mark Davis doesn't have any kids, right?
Whoo. You might have to play a little like that's worthy.
I'm saying I'm not saying, but I'm saying maybe there is a succession plan in place, and that's why Tom Brady has all this incentive, right? He's like, bro, I'm not backing out of this. What? Not at all. So he full. Like, you wouldn't want me to do. You just don't want me to do more work and still get paid. Okay, I'll take that gig. Like, you can show up to work, but you can't do any of the work that you're supposed to do. Like, all right, fine with me. I already signed the contract. Y'all got to pay me.
But the moment Tom Brady costs us a draft pick, we're gonna have a problem.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have a problem.
Heavy.
Yeah. So
I think he can be banned by the league though. That's the thing though. Like, it's not like it's a minor thing. If he's caught doing something like this, he can be permanently banned by the league. And I think part of that ban could result in being kicked out of the Hall of Fame. I could be wrong on that, but it's a very serious deal. This is like no small thing. If you're doing something like that, that can be huge. We've heard people. I think somebody just went to jail for like stealing some stuff off a laptop from a team and giving to somebody else. So like, this stuff is serious stuff, bro. So like, I mean, I don't think Tom Brady's going to risk everything to try to help the Raiders like beat the Arizona Cardinals or shit like that. Like, come on now. Bro. Like,
I mean, Deflategate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is part of that.
That's why he was still
culture.
playing. Like, he was still playing.
And if y'all want to,
all I'm saying is, I'm putting the conspiracy hat on. They were investigating the Washington Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call, and John Gruden caught some strays, and he was the one that got blackballed. So all I'm saying is, if they want to find something, and it doesn't even have to be directly at you, but if they want to dig and find something, they can. It's happened to us before. Be on your P's and Q's, Tom Brady.
You know what? That's the other side to it too as well. Is that, as much as I have my disagreements with John Gruden on the football field as far as him coaching and like certain moments in the game, short yardage, red zone, whatever the case may be. Maybe the league didn't like that he got a 10-year contract. And the fact that like you give a coach that amount of time to develop a team and to put his footprint on the team, the benefit of that is you kind of develop a winning team. There's that, because I'm not gonna lie. Hey, we're gonna get into Derek Carr in a second, by the way, but he had Derek Carr. He had Derek Carr playing well.
Yes.
He had Darren Waller playing his best football, who's now retired prematurely.
Renfro.
Hunter Renfro playing his best football.
100 catches.
100 catches. Who's not in the league right now? You know, tell me why. I don't know why. I'm not saying that he sucks, but I'm just saying he had a lot of because of John Gruden, and maybe that 10-year contract. And this is I'm being a conspiracy theorist right now. They seen that the Raiders could, because Al Davis made a whole lot of enemies back in the day, bro. He made a whole lot of enemies, and it's to the point where I think the league wants the Davis family away from the Raiders so they can put whoever in place so they can capitalize on all the money that the Raiders can get. And
you can't tell me that continuation of what John Gruden was doing that 2021 season. Derek Carr was throwing 400 yards a game before the whole Gruden thing happened. You could also argue and say that the whole Henry Ruggs thing doesn't happen under Gruden's rule.
I
can also say that.
I agree.
And you can also say that Derek Carr was probably going to throw for about 5,000 yards, at least that season. And you could also say they still make the playoffs and only lost to the eventual AFC champions by 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Who's to say what could have happened that season?
Yeah.
No.
They
also had to cheat a little bit to get some points on the board. That early whistle and they stopped. So, hey, conspiracy theorists, but there's a lot of things that support what we're saying, and tie it back to Tom Brady. Mind your P's and Q's, because if they want to go after you, they will go after you, and it'll cost us. It'll cost us our future if so.
Shit. Hopefully he's thinking about his future. You know what I mean? If what Severe is saying is right, like talking about the Hall of Fame, I'm sure he cares about his legacy as a football player. He cared about what he did on the football field, so I'm sure he cares about stuff like that. But we're just thinking out loud. We're just having a real conversation right now. Look, I know people in the chat can be like, well, John Gruden did this and that. He wasn't this. But I'm just saying, bro, like that was just so left field. Even though the whole situation, I disagreed with a lot of different things.
Right.
It was just so left field. Like it just came out of nowhere where it just felt like the Raiders got the short end of the sticks. You know what I mean? Like it just like in the middle of the season. That whole season was weird. That whole season was weird. But that just
amazing.
And I ain't trying to bring that back, but
our real deal kill you.
Hey, Severe, did you want to play this clip?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and play it. This is just some fun speculation. This is going on right now. We all know that everybody been talking about it, but this guy Tom Brady out there still throwing it. He got my guy. What's my guy that did the movie Avatar? James Cameron doing the editing.
Man.
Yo, that camera work is no joke, bro. That's
crazy, bro. Camera work is crazy.
Yeah,
and this dude, Tom Brady he out here, bro. He know what he doing, man. He know what he doing. He out here for real. Like, teasing these teams. Like, I hey, who knows? I might get the itch to play again. Oh, look at me out here throwing these dots to these receivers. I'm still in shape. Still, the TB12 method has kept me, I feel like I'm 26. Like, come on, bro. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, he's just doing this because he's just trying to get attention, trying to draw attention. Like, oh, I'm throwing the football, act like I'm coming back, but he ain't coming back, man. There's too much. It's too much money off the field that he would be giving up.
Facts. That's
people that people are not paying attention to.
Yeah. Why even play, man?
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier too. We talked about like Kelsey. Kelsey's probably on his way out.
Yeah.
100 million podcast deal. He's over here. Did they get? I think is he married with old girl?
I don't think so.
He's still dating. Whatever.
Hey, he's capitalizing off that though. I'll tell you that he's capitalizing off that.
For sure.
So, but yeah, Tom Brady's definitely retired. He's not coming back. He wants to be an owner and continue to make a lot of money. So that's pretty much what he's on. But Mike, pass it to you, man. What's your extra point this week?
All right, man. I'm gonna have to set the mood for it, man, because I'm about to do some things that might not be suitable for children. You got to put the red light on. So there you go. I'm about to talk shit about a child today. So go ahead and roll the clip, man.
Miniborder.com/BigMikeRaider Apex.
All right, let me go
ahead and roll the clip, bro.
If you're so into the NFL, you know your Raiders, I can tell right here. How are you feeling with the team this year?
We're not going to the Super Bowl. I already know it.
We got a realistic Raiders fan here. This is odd. This is the first interview I've ever had like this. The Super Bowl chances are not good, but what is it going to take for the Raiders to have a successful season, you think?
Not to get arrested.
Okay, that's definitely an interesting one. I would agree with that. Yeah, getting someone in prison, that's going to hurt the chances.
Whew. Mike, the floor is yours.
Fuck that kid. First off, this is a reflection of parenting, right? Severe, you pointed it out earlier that, you know, his dad was kind of looking at him and like, bro, hey, you're not supposed to be saying that out loud, right? That was a problem. So, and second off, go ahead and put on some Broncos orange, man, because that's the mentality of some Broncos fans. That's the mentality of some Chargers fans. I've heard it from both those fan bases that Raiders, you know, synonymous with getting their players get arrested and get in trouble. But that's not necessarily the case. If you want to show the other visual right there, man, we'll show what is really the truth of really what it is about, right? Like, you know, since the year 2000, you know, arrests since the year 2000 by team, the Raiders are right in the middle. I'm going to wait for you to pull it up, but the Raiders are right in the middle in the NFL with 28 arrests by team. But guess who's in the front? The Broncos.
Speaking of police.
There you go. Perfect timing, right? Coming to get this child because he broke all laws and regulations of the Raider Nation with that one, man. We don't say that kind of stuff. Let the Broncos fan, let the Chargers fans say nonsense like that. And the Chargers are right in front of us with 29. Not too much of a difference, but my point is, if you're considered a Raider fan, if you call yourself a Raider fan, that is irresponsible for you to be bringing that type of stereotype to Raider Nation and passing that down to your child. Because this is the type of stuff that we're trying to overcome. This is the type of stuff that we're trying to get over, and continuing that stereotype, which is strictly false, is irresponsible and it's a detriment to Raider Nation. And once you disrespect Raider Nation, you got a problem with me and you got a problem with all of us here, man. So that child, you can kick rocks, man. Take that hat off. You're a disgrace to Raider Nation. I don't care if you're a child, man, and your dad can do the same too with that chin fro with no mustache. That's some nasty work, bro. Like let's just call a spade. So that's my take on that one. Man. I'll turn the lights back on.
Damn.
Just saying, man.
Mike, angry Raider, man. Hey,
yes.
Hey, bro, he let him have it right there, man. A little kid though, It don't matter if he's a little kid, a woman, kids. And no,
everybody get these hands. Everybody get these hands, man.
Everybody. But hey, man, just looking at this graphic though, man, this is crazy, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Raiders' image. Their mystique is kind of like that bad boy image, you know. that was part of their whole mystique, was that toughness. And the guys that play, the guys that played on the other side, man, they illitent, as to quote a great man, illitent, violence, all that good stuff, man. Like that is part of the Raiders kind of image. But this is crazy. Look at this, man. 57 by the Vikings, crazy. And now that I think about it, I don't really hear the Raiders really getting rest like that. If we can remember the ones, those are the ones that stick out. Like, I mean, I guess
like big stories.
Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs. Who maybe I think Janarius Robinson this offseason got a DUI possibly or something like that. Maybe got a ticket. I don't know.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs with that big old gash on his forehead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was. Yeah, I forgot about that. Hey, bro,
man,
you not gonna leave. You gonna stay giving it to. That was gonna be a pause-worthy statement. I'm just gonna let that go.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you putting the brakes on there.
Hey, man,
I was looking at you like that kid, like that dad was looking at that kid, like, man, what the even think? Watch what you say.
Oh man, was it this kid right here?
Dad's like, oh yeah.
Damn, that's a crazy. He got no mustache, the goatee. That's crazy, bro.
That is a crazy look, man.
That's crazy, but let's get back into it, man. And I was gonna bring up Derek Carr earlier, but I wanted to save it for right now, man. So this week, especially. Not within Raider Nation. I think the nation's kind of noticed it a little bit because the fans in New Orleans are going crazy. They are going crazy because Derek Carr is starting another year in Saints uniform. And they're literally are pretty much chanting Spencer Rattler, possible, we could have got him in the 5th round. I'm just saying, if Rattler plays lights out for the Saints or plays well or they're winning games with Rattler, and we don't see Eichenberg for like what? I mean, because he hasn't played a game yet. So just FYI. But that's a whole different conversation for another day. But Derek Carr, man. I think, with all this energy with the fan base, only after one season, which took almost 9 years for us to really get to a point where like, hey, you know what? It's just time. It's probably best if we go separate ways, and they're already done with them. And an example of that, let me go ahead and put this on the screen. I got some funny like, man, they're going crazy. They got all types of memes, shots of Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler on the man. It's crazy. Let me put this on the screen. Y'all can tell me what y'all think it is. You got Spencer Rattler mean mugging Derek Carr when he's talking to him on the sideline. And then you got Derek Carr just looking like, he's not happy about what's going on right now. But this is obviously we're looking into it. The fan, but my main point is this: the New Orleans Saints fan base, they're not happy over there. And can we now say I told you so? When Derek Carr went to the Saints, all we heard from the Saints fan base was, oh, now he's going to a franchise that's better than the Raiders and this, that, and the third, and then we're going to go to the playoffs in the weakest division in football. He's not in the AFC West. He doesn't have to go up against Patrick Mahomes. Didn't happen his first year. Now, second year, they're literally coming up with songs that I didn't know they can come up with. And I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick. I didn't know you could make an R&B song about Derek Carr like this.
Nothing more frustrating than when Carr, your franchise guy, holds on to the ball too long, gets sacked. Crystal Lobby is open in the flash. Everybody knows he ain't
Bro, look at this. Look at this picture.
Do what you got to do.
They got Derek Carr got
my
Saints fans
goodness.
singing R&B songs
About how
Talking
bad
about-
it was. But they're saying everything that we've been saying. Holding the ball too long, taking sacks. Like,
and it's,
you know,
it's- I'm not gonna play the video again, but there's like, isn't this like a picture that we all know and recognize in a Raiders uniform? Like,
Yeah.
where Carr has this like really funny face and he's getting
Yes.
picked up from the ground. You know, I guess that's the result of, you know, him playing with the Raiders for 9 years. But man, I think it's just crazy that it's there was a point in time where I was like, you know, I was hoping that Derek Carr could be that guy, but hey, it is what it is, man. Like, he is what he is at this point. He's average, inconsistent. You know, he needs a lot for him to really play well. I thought he had a defense. I thought he had weapons out with the Saints, and now the fan base is really turning on him. And I think his days are numbered. Spencer Rattler, you know, I heard some Saint fans say that, you know what, Spencer Rattler's not ready as well. But I think it's going to be a situation where, you know, I think the franchise is going to try to. It's sometimes when they make big decisions with quarterbacks, it's not just the head coach, it's not just the locker room. Sometimes it's ownership too.
Fact.
So eventually, the ownership, just like Mark Davis was hearing Raider Nate, it's kind of similar to McDaniels last season. Like, it was just I thought McDaniels was going to make it at least to the end of the season and get fired. But he got fired literally in the middle of the season. I think with Mark Davis literally going viral and fans screaming in his face, like it's going to get to that point. I feel like it's going to get to that point with Derek Carr, and they're going to have no choice but to put. And I think maybe it's going to take maybe a bad start. Maybe Derek Carr has to lose some games or whatnot. But I think his days are numbered with the Saints. And at this point, if he's done with the Saints, do you guys see him even? I mean, playing again? I mean, playing for another team, starting for another team? I mean, like, is he going to be relegated to a backup at this point if he wants to continue playing? Is his ego too big where he's going to retire? Look, this is a message to the Saints fan. I just want to say, and I think I can speak for everybody on the panel, we told you so. we told you so. I mean, Derek Carr is what he is at this point. You know, I was one of the guys that, you know what, he just needs a better O-line. He needs to get protected here. You know, like, he didn't have any weapons. He didn't really have the play caller. But then, now that I think about it, like, man, he needs everything. Everything needs to go right for this dude to be successful.
Exactly.
And if that's the case, then that means you're not the guy. You're not the guy. You're not the guy.
Go ahead and press that blast. You got to press it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, man. I left this. I didn't want to start with this just because, like, you know, the Derek Carr is so. I know it's old wounds. It's an old conversation that we don't want to have anymore at this point. But I just felt like this week the nation was like taking a peek at what was going on over there with the Saints, because the Saints were like literally throwing riots, and they're literally they want anybody other than Carr out there on the football field. In this case, Spencer Rattler. But, you know, it is what it is, man. I think I'm still looking at this funny picture of Carr on the football. That was hilarious, like the fact that he's getting picked up like that. But, man.
Yeah, man.
It is what it is, man. That was my extra point, my little rant about Derek Carr. It's crazy. It's crazy that, like, that I'm the one that's saying this, because I was like, I don't want to say I was a Derek Carr guy, but I felt like I was kind of, because you know, the fan base was kind of split on Derek Carr. You either were like a Derek Carr stan or you're a Derek Carr hater, and I was kind of right there in the middle. But I was kind of defending Derek Carr because the hate was so much. I'm like, hey, just give him. Yeah. I know he's not Patrick Mahomes. I know he's not the best quarterback, but he could get the job done. He's not that bad. But man, as time went on, 9 years, obviously, the Saints. It is what it is, man. Good luck to y'all, man. I think Derek Carr is just, at this point, he is what he is. He ain't getting better. He is what he is. And I think the moment John Gruden got kicked out, I think that was his kill shot right there.
That was a ceiling. Yep.
That was his ceiling, because he was in that offense for 4 years.
Yep.
And the type of game that Derek Carr plays, he needs to know where everybody's at, and you know, like, because he's not a guy that's gonna buy time and make something happen and make some magic in the pocket. You know, he's
Rarely.
that pre-snap. He has to know that this guy's gonna be there before the ball is snapped.
Yep.
Yeah, but I remember the year that I always forget the guy's name. The safety for the Chiefs. I forget his name, but I remember like one time.
You talking about Tyrann Mathieu?
Hubby?
Tyrann Mathieu?
No,
at the time?
no, not Tyrann Mathieu. It was another guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Like,
he wasn't even that. He's not even that like. He like a role
Nah,
player
he
too.
didn't call like that. I want to say it was his rookie year. It was the same year we drafted Jonathan Abram. I want to say he was a safety. He was one of the top rated safeties too. But I remember like we were playing the Chiefs, and then the guy like came off his coverage and made a play and picked off Derek Carr. Derek Carr's like, yeah, like that guy's not supposed to be there. Like he's not supposed to, like, in that coverage. He's not supposed to do that. Like, bro, this is football. These people ain't robots, bro. Like, you know, like he's allowed to not cover the guy. He's allowed to do that. Like, that's part of the game. Like, you're allowed to, hey, I don't have to make this read and automatically throw it to this guy. I can scan the field and find somebody else. Like, he don't seem to, like, I don't know, like, he's like, you know, like robo QB, like, hey, you input information and, like, you know, he outputs things, but if any deviance or variation from that, like, it throws him off. Like, he can't,
Very
like,
formulaic.
Cannot compute. What's the? I'm thinking that Simpsons episode. What's with the robot, the word robot? I forget his name. I'm gonna send it to you guys after the show. But I don't know, man. And I think Derek Carr, he has an inflated sense of how good he is. But he also has a victim mentality as well, where it's like it's always somebody else. It's never like, oh, me. And he became famous for the line, put it on me. But he got famous for the line because it was always half-hearted and nobody like really felt that he ever meant it, and didn't seem like he ever did too much to really change the results. It was always, oh man, put this loss on me. But like it was never really like, it never really seemed genuine. It's just like again, robo QB that's something that the quarterback should say. So I'm going to say it. Hey, you put this loss on me because I am the quarterback and the leader of the franchise. But like bro, like do something about it then. Don't just say put it on you. Like just like play better. And I think that he was under John Gruden and he took to that coaching somewhat, but even then, like, right, every year, John Gruden, hey man, like, it's Kyler Murray kid, man, it's Kyler Murray kid, pretty special, man. Like, every year, John Gruden is looking at this quarterback, and it was reported every year, John Gruden was looking at other quarterbacks. He always had his eye on somebody else because I think deep down he knew, like, look, I can only carry this guy so far. Like he had to move and like he had to live next to Derek Carr and like do all this like high maintenance stuff. And then when Derek Carr went to the Saints and he was struggling, who did the Saints call in to bring in as an advisor that offseason? John Gruden. It's like, damn, dog, are you that Gruden dependent? Like, did that injury against the Colts that break your confidence that much where you can't even function now without somebody like holding your hand? Like, do we have to keep the training wheels on this entire time? And it seems like that's the case. I remember there were people saying there were like people that had the Saints winning the Super Bowl or being in the Super Bowl, representing the NFC. That's how much they really like tried to just heap all Derek Carr's issues on just the Raiders.
Right.
Like, oh, it's just the Raiders. It's a Raider problem. It's not. Once we get Derek Carr out of that situation, out of that dump, and get him into this pristine division down here with, hey, all these teams, none of them are really that good. And, Desmond Ridder is a starter over here. And then, you got rookie Bryce Young and you got Baker Mayfield. Like, Derek Carr, come on, Derek Carr, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Pro Bowl alternate Derek Carr. It's like, come on, dog. Like, and what did he do? Nothing. So, man, I don't know. We should have Spencer Rattler too.
Yeah, I know, right? Speaking about his leadership, you made a point where Saints fans seen his leadership too. And you remember, like during the season, there was a play where Chris Olave, I guess, ran the wrong route just based off how Derek Carr was basically expressing himself. But the ball that he threw went way out of bounds, like uncatchable, way out of bounds, and he was livid, like he was doing the most, like basically kind of putting his receiver out in full blast, like you should have did this, but then you threw the ball like 30 yards left, you know, and I'm sure the other players on the team see that. I'm sure the coaches see that. So in just 1 year, they were able to see Derek Carr at quarterback, and like you said, his leadership seemed like it was forced. Like,
so,
you know what I'm saying?
The last time I saw a dude look at another guy like that was when I think it was at running back for the Broncos was looking at Russell Wilson. Crazy. It was kind of similar. Like they're on the sideline. Crazy.
Yeah.
He was gone shortly after that. So writing's on the wall, man.
So you think Derek Carr lost that locker room?
It's hard to say, man. I don't know what's going on with the Saints, but hey, his leash is short. So is Dennis Allen.
Yes.
So that could be a package deal. That could be a package deal.
Yeah. Because Dennis Allen co-signed the Derek Carr deal because, hey, that was the guy. That's my guy. This is the guy that I drafted when I was with the coach of the Raiders. This is the guy that I believe. He's with the Raiders for 9 years. It was just, it's the Raiders, not Derek Carr. It's the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And look what's happening now. The Raiders ain't there with the Saints. The Saints got the same players. They got the receivers. They got the whatever defense that's supposed to ready to win now type of roster, but they're not getting it done. We'll see what happens this year, but it just paying attention and seeing and seeing everybody on social media when it comes to Saints fans and just preseason. You got the whole, I understand the backup quarterback is always damn near going to be either the most popular player or the second most popular player on the team, just because there's that what if factor. Like, hey, if he's in a game, then he would have done this. If he was in a game, he would have done this. But it's kind of different with Derek Carr, where they already hate him. They hate him. Yep. Overall, they hate him. Like there's a clip I was gonna play, but the dude was just cussing way too much. He was going crazy. Like he called into like some podcast. I guess their own podcast show, and he was just going crazy. Now I'll probably send it to y'all. Y'all could just laugh about it later, but he was going crazy. So they're done with Derek Carr at this point. It's just, and the thing is, Derek Carr even admits, he even says out loud, like, y'all know I'm an emotional player. We all know he's sensitive. So it's already going to affect his game because everything is going to be under a microscope. Every throw, every mistake, whether fair or not, it is what it is. That's just what it is at this point. He got paid that big contract, and he hasn't lived up to it. But who cares? We're not Saints fans. We're just here to be like, I told you so.
Look,
I told you so.
All I got to say is this. The Southern divisions in the NFL are filled with guys that should have been Raiders. You got Spencer Rattler playing in the NFC South for the Saints. Michael Penix playing in the NFC South for the Falcons. Bryce Young playing in the NFC South for the Panthers. Then you got CJ Stroud playing in the AFC South for the Texans. Like, the Southern Division is full of guys that should have been Raiders quarterback.
Man, the one that hurt the most probably was CJ Stroud, but not as much as Michael Penix. Michael Penix seemed like they could have got him like if they just were like, hey, this is our guy. They would have traded up to Tennessee. Who they take? Offensive tackle. Who they literally could have probably took with the number. I'm sure they could have made sense of like trading down if the Raiders are going to be like, hey, we'll give you our, number 13, next year's first round pick. Because they took an old tackle. They could have got an offensive tackle. I'm sure there was another guy that they valued outside of old boy who came out of Alabama. I believe it was your guy, Mike. I think your favorite tackle in the draft.
Yeah,
Alabama.
Mine too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man, I
forget his name too. He was my favorite tackle in this draft too.
We all drawing a blank at the same time.
Yeah, we were doing all the mock drafts, and I remember you were like, "Hey, man, you were big on him early on." And guess what? He ended up being the second tackle taken off the board.
JC Latham.
JC Latham. There you go. Yeah.
JC Latham ended up going to Tennessee. So when I look at that pick, I'm like, damn, they got JC Latham number 6. I'm like, that's a spot that someone could have, went up to and traded up. And I'm speaking to the Raiders. They could have traded up. And this is as the draft is unfolding. And the rest is history. It is what it is, man. That Penix pick to Atlanta really. We play Atlanta this season, right? I hope we blow them out, bro. With Michael Penix at quarterback.
Yeah.
If we blow him out, we might see Michael Penix. Yeah, we might see Michael if Kirk Cousins already.
Oh, man.
And that's a Monday night game, too.
Monday night game in Las Vegas, I believe. In Vegas, yep.
In Vegas.
But yeah, man, that wraps up Extra Point. Great show. Great episode, man. Severe, man. Let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
Man, you guys know what it is. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, on IG, on Snapchat, on X, on TikTok. Make sure y'all check the description in my channel, as well as my community tab, as well as Pharaoh's community tab. We got some shirts, some 50-50 shirts. Things is fire. The things are fire. They are flying off the shelf right now, man. So if y'all want one, y'all better make sure y'all get them fast because we cannot keep up with the demand. So if you guys don't get them, like you don't make the move now, then you're going to be out of luck. So make sure you make that move. And then, I'm going to be at the game versus the Chargers. So me and Pharaoh will be there. We'll be there, probably networking, talking to all the different Raider content creators. So, man, if y'all at the game, man, hey, give us a shout out.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So yeah, definitely check out the description of this video. It's probably gonna have the link as well as our community tab and social media. We'll have all the links on there. So y'all just click on there, just put your email, and let us know your size. We'll send you details of the shirt as well. So yeah, shout out, man. Hey, look, 50-50, man. Hey, look, check it out, man. Fire shirt. Definitely try to get you one, copy one. Yeah, let's do it, man. Ace, my guy, Big Mike, Angry Raider. What's going on, man? Let the people know where they can find you, bro, and what to look forward to.
Man, you can find me in the gutter, feeling the anger, feeling the hate. from now until week 17 and beyond, man, you can find me on X. I'm feeling the hate all season, man. I'm taking no prisoners. We're going after everybody this year, man. We're going after everybody, man. X, IG, Big Mike Raider, and plenty where this comes from. Riding with Big Mike once a week. We'll be doing that, and Around the Shield on Fridays, man. So stay tuned, man. We got a lot cooking up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Hey, look, we gonna do this back every Fridays. Every Fridays, you'll see the show Around the Shield, me, Big Mike, and Severe, as well as the 50-50 show every Monday. Or I keep forgetting, new time, same show, new time. Every Tuesday evening. So be on the lookout for by hitting the notification bell, hitting that like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribe to all my guys, man. Hey, so easy, man. Just hit that button. But we appreciate the support. And like my guy Severe said, and the link will be in the description as well as social media. You'll see it everywhere. But if you want to make it easy for y'all, since y'all on YouTube, the link will be in the description so y'all can pre-order, the 50-50 Play Raiders t-shirt, man. Hey, it's fire. We'll have, I think we'll probably have some stuff during game day, but obviously you guys can order online just to make it simple and easy for y'all. So make sure to check that out. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. It's been a great show. The Raiders season is literally right here, man. It's around the corner. Hey, look, man, I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. As much as me and Severe went at it with Minshew and AOC and who's the quarterback, I cannot wait to see Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams, everybody on offense, this defense. Look, preseason is preseason, but hey, Patrick Graham, I know he got something cooking. I know the defense is going to be motivated to play from Antonio Pierce. Pierce is going to have his boys ready. I just can't wait against the hated division rival in this Los San Diego Chargers, man. That's what we're going to call them. We're not going to call them Los Angeles. There's only one team in Los Angeles. It's the Los Angeles Raiders, Oakland Raiders. We all know that city's owned by the Raiders. That's why they didn't want us in Costa Mesa. They over here had all types of rules against the Raiders. Only certain people can come to the training camp. Y'all know what it is, man. But hey, look, any last thoughts? Anything you want to say to Raider Nation before we head out?
That's about it, man.
That's it. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
All right, man. We out of here, man. Make sure to clock in, like the thumbs, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Till next time. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.